Can you guys hear us? Have you ever heard of this Italian place called Domino's? Incredible food. Incredible food. There's no better Italian place than Domino's.
Case was like, no, I haven't. And I just looked at him and I said, he's just saying Domino's. And he goes, oh.
This is Chris Hansen.
This is TJ Hushmanzada.
Chad doing Rip City Radio here.
This is Jamie Hudson.
And I need to let y'all know something. You're listening to.
And you're listening to.
It just makes
This just makes sense.
It just makes sense.
Woo! Way better than Chris Hansen.
Yeah.
Seriously. Some people do this for the love of the game. I think that we just do this so that we can drink on weekdays.
Every day is a day of reckoning? What? Because of a 30-yard pass for a first down, Gus? And he looks me up and down. And he goes, "You're hella vaccinated up, aren't you?"
You know what else is rude? Both of you talking about how you went through a fat phase, and I don't know when I'm going to get out of it.
We're 30 years into this.
Yeah, maybe I'm just not applying myself, huh?
The show about conspiracy theories made by former lovers.
They make you want to scream. It just makes sense.
It makes me want to scream, fix your audio. You're on episode 95. Get a mixer.
That's a teaser for season 3. That's the energy we're bringing.
Sportsmanship is way overrated. Winning is what's rated.
They don't have Domino's in Allentown, huh?
We do. I just prefer Olive Garden.
Oh, I'm with you on that. We're gonna
Never-ending breads.
Chase Wild Attorney at Law does take up a lot of energy and space, so we're just gonna. But I refuse to call you Chase. So we're gonna go CWAAL.
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 Attorney at Law. Yeah, CWAAL.
Esquire.
All you Utah boys gave yourselves nicknames anyway, so you got beat down there. You're CWAAL.
So they have this ongoing joke. And I think you've confirmed that this is not true. They have this ongoing joke that I made up the name B-Town for myself.
Not at all. Not at all.
Thank you.
I don't believe
In fact, I will say that if there's anybody who knows more embarrassing stories about me as a Mormon boy, it is Chase Wild. So I don't know what you guys want to do with that, but this is your opportunity.
I mean,
we'll have some time.
Yeah, we'll have some time.
We'll have some time to dig all that out.
Okay, sounds good.
Where are you guys at? Are you at an Airbnb?
No, we're at Chase's house.
He lives there.
Oh, I didn't know if you were in New York or Pennsylvania. I thought you were in New York.
We are in Allentown, Pennsylvania, in the home of Chase Wild, Attorney at Law.
Chase Wild, Attorney at Law. How often do you find yourself in the city? You're about a 90-minute train ride. Is that right?
You can just call me Chase if you want, Peter.
No, thank you.
That's not happening, Chase Wild, Attorney at Law.
It wouldn't be right. It wouldn't be right.
You're asking us to not be ourselves.
I will say that sometimes I'll talk about you and I'll just say, "Oh yeah, Chase," and they'll stop me. And then
We will.
That's not.
We have no idea who Chase is.
So at this point, I'm being forced to say the entire thing.
Fair enough.
It's really a respect thing, so.
Appreciate that. So unfortunately, there's no train from Allentown to New York City, so we drive, but it's about a 90-minute drive.
What room is this?
We're in the dining room.
Yep.
It's a nice, cool gray, Peter.
I painted it myself.
Beautiful.
What a zaddy move.
Yeah, that is a zaddy move.
As dads, Peter, we have to do it all.
Exactly. Now, this is a serious. I'm not knocking or making fun of you. The backwards hat. I've never been able to pull off a backwards hat, but you still are rocking it, and I admire it.
Thank you. I'm trying to hold on to the flat brim trucker hat as long as possible.
So you're a flat brim guy.
Well, I do also have some dad hats that I've collected since becoming a dad.
I have very much embraced like the snapback dad hat these days.
Yeah.
No longer do the fitted hats exist in my household.
I mean, to be fair, we should also point out you haven't been able to pull off a lot of different things.
That's true. Yes.
You know,
there's a reason why I tend to wear monochromatic shirts. I am the guy who just like blends into the background constantly. You'll never know that I am there.
The quarter white socks have come and gone, and you've been rocking it for 34 years.
That's true. So. I already like did the full cycle on socks.
Pete,
you sock guy, Chase?
Are you a socks guy?
No, and like some people like really accentuate or like compliment their wardrobe with
crazy sock day at work or something.
Yeah, or like some people are just like, I am a white black sock guy, or they use it as a fashion accessory.
Chase, you a sock sniffer?
I mean, like as a lawyer, I didn't ask if he was a sock sniffer, Dick. I asked if he like accentuated his wardrobe with socks. I don't think that's a question.
The time will come, I think, when I will.
Sure.
The position I'm in right now, though, I'm pretty much never seen. So I'm not really a sock guy, a shoe guy, coat guy. I'm nothing guy. I just wear what I have.
Okay.
For now.
All right.
Peter, I do imagine though, do you still have like the socks that have the gray toe with the white line or the red line?
Yes, as my winter socks, I do. Yes. And they're from Costco.
Of course they are.
Yes. I'm very excited to have those. They're a little bit thicker, but
yeah, and they have the odd like two unnecessary bulges on either side of your foot that just
it always like gouges into you. Yeah, exactly.
If you're just wearing socks, those are okay, but I hate those when you're putting shoes on.
Sure. Yep. So,
yeah, I think the technology has advanced quite a bit, but I'm glad you're holding on, Pete.
You know what? Eventually, I'm always like trying to find.
Peter stays retro.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Well, I'm glad we've gone down this rabbit hole this far.
I know it's not as if we have anything to talk about why you are in Pennsylvania, and not about what you have been up to this last week. Braxton, our jet setter, is
who our guests
who our guests are.
Or who our guests. I mean, the thing is that for our P1s, as they are called, people know Chase Wild, attorney at law, but no, we've never put a face and a name. I swear to you, like I had to ask in our group chat when a photo was taken of you, Chase, and I was like, that's Chase Wild, attorney at law, right? Because I don't think that you've remained what's the word? Just anonymous for so long.
Of all of Braxton's friends he's brought up since this podcast started, with all of their full government names that he introduces them as, you have the longest name. Garrett, you win that award.
Well, it is 5 words long.
Yes.
But no, I will say that when I sent that picture, Peter responded with just Mr. At Law ? And I said, yes, sir, that is him.
You've never been referred to as just Chase Wild. That's never happened.
Never. But I will say it goes both ways. It's good to finally have faces to the voices that I've been listening to. And it's
right. I'm sure
not entirely what I expected.
I know, we apologize.
I once was told that I had a very punchable face. I imagine like I have a nasally voice and a punchable face. So there you go.
No, I'm not.
That.
I don't remember, but it was,
Those
it
are
was in
LaSalle
probably
days.
like middle school days. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was last week, Peter.
Yeah.
But no, for those who don't listen or don't know, Chase Wild is my childhood best friend. We grew up together. We went through middle school, high school together, very formative years as Mormon boys in Utah. And Chase has grown up to do great things. Obviously an attorney at law. Unfortunately, he didn't have that title when I was going through my legal troubles, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Little late, Chase. Little late.
But no, I'm visiting him here in Pennsylvania. I've been here for the week. Jared and I got here. We started in New York for a few days, and then we came out here, and it's been a wondrous time. Very thankful to have Chase with us here today.
Yeah, so we're gonna get to your trip in a second, but I want to just backtrack to some childhood years stuff with Chase. So, Chase, were you there for the infamous jizz burrito?
He was not.
Okay.
This is news to me.
Okay, so he was not around for the infamous jizz. I just needed to clarify.
He's like, I hate that kid.
Yeah, just needed
You
to
know
clarify.
Alex Tillman?
I'm not sure I do.
Okay.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay,
no,
so
he
probably
was
for the
there.
best.
Not
For the
there for
best.
the infamous, but probably, yeah, that's. And then when did the at law become a passion of yours? When did you know? What was your thing? What was the aha moment?
Pretty early on, when I was 16, I got one too many speeding tickets, actually.
Okay.
And my license was suspended. But before that happened, I had to appear before a judge, just like a local county judge. And it was a terrible experience. I just felt helpless and hopelessness. And I remember thinking, I never want to feel like this again. So I'm going to go to law school, get the education so that I can stick it to the man when that day comes. And that's
Did you
what
have a lawyer represent you in that first time?
No, like a fool, I represented myself.
Like that guy, gosh, I'm sure you're probably tracking what's going on with that trial where the guy who drove his car through the parade of people, he's representing himself at trial. He has like multiple life sentences, and it's just a mess. I don't know if you've been tracking that very much, but if you haven't,
I'm sure that draws a lot of parallels to his parking ticket situation.
Yeah. All right. A little different than,
Moral of the story, a man who represents himself as a fool for a client. That's how the saying goes.
Love that. So where to begin on your adventures? Because you left midweek, you flew to New York City. New York City?
Start with a New York hot dog. What was that experience like?
I mean, that was...
Well, Chase was there with me. So Chase, we got there, flew red eye overnight on Thursday night. We got into JFK at probably like 7:30 a.m. And then we went straight to our hotel. We weren't able to check into our hotel until about noon. So we dropped our bags off and we kind of had gone from there. But on Saturday, Chase came out and met up with us. And I had told you guys over text, I kind of was holding out to go to either Hot Dog King or Papaya King. And it just didn't work out in our day. Wherever we were going, we weren't close to those places or whatever had happened. So at one point I took Miguel's advice and I was just like, we're going to go with the street dog. We're going to take it down. And it
Dirty
wasn't
water dog.
Yeah, do you find the yellow and blue tents?
He pulled back the stainless steel cover to the dirty water dog.
Oh, yes.
Took one out of it, shook
it
off the dirty water.
Yes.
And he said, do you want it spicy? I said, hell yeah. He dipped it back in there a couple of times. No, I'm just kidding. But
wait, that was the move for spicy? Dipped it back in the water?
No, I
just want to know what's in the water.
but no, it was good. It was a good hot dog. That's probably where I'll leave that. It was
not as good as your LA street dog.
No, I think LA street dog definitely is tier 1 A+. What was your thoughts though?
It wasn't good.
Okay, sure.
Chase, you bougie ass bitch.
Chase has the appreciation for hot dogs that we might have, because I think our standard for hot dogs is pretty low. If it's too
whoa,
shove it down our gullet.
Take it easy.
How dare you? Shame on you.
As kids, Braxton and I would take hot dogs out of the fridge and just eat them raw. So
that's probably why.
So I have some experience with hot dogs.
Yeah. So how come you didn't like the USC hot dog? That was just like your childhood. It should have been nostalgic.
I was underwhelmed. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a decent hot dog.
All right.
However, I will say the hot dogs we had at the link during the Phillies game were way better.
Next level. Okay.
Were they cooked all the way, unlike the Coliseum?
Yes, they were cooked all the way, thankfully. Before we got our hot dogs, we went to John's of Bleecker Street.
Ooh, how was that?
That was definitely the best pizza that I had while we were in New York. We also
Did they do the little pepperoni cups, the little guys, or what was the bite like?
Normal pepperoni, but the dough. I think that really is the difference, is the dough, because they have this ability to make it really thin, but it's just thick enough to create like a crisp outer layer with some softness behind it.
How close was your window slice to John's of Bleecker?
It was closer than I thought it would be. The window slice was pretty damn good. But then on Friday night, we saw a Broadway show. We saw Beetlejuice.
Yes.
Beetlejuice.
That I was kind of surprised by that. I don't know like the history or the backstory other than just people saying Beetlejuice and it being kind of chaotic, but
yeah, so we went to that TKTS window.
Yeah.
So we
the
walked
half off
into,
tickets.
Yeah, we walked into Times Square because there's two locations. We walk into the Times Square one because that was what was closest to us.
Were you staying in Midtown?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was a line so incredibly long. It took up a majority of Times Square. There was just this horde of people. And we thought there might be like a street performer or something because people will gather for that. No, they are waiting in line to get their half price tickets. So we walk up to the front. We're like, hey, this is crazy. Because we got there probably 15 minutes before they even opened.
Yeah, right.
And she's like, yeah, it's going to take a while. You'll probably wait in line for a good 2-3 hours. And I was like, is your other location like that? Because it's a 15-minute subway ride to the other location.
Right. It was like the other one's like in the financial district or
Yeah,
by the
Lincoln
river
Center.
or something. That's where I got my tickets a long time ago.
Yeah, so we go down there and we're like, well, let's just check it out. It's a 15-minute subway ride. So we go down there and that nobody's there. No one. Absolutely no line. We walk right up. When we went up, we're like, actually, we don't know what we want to do. So we step back, waited a few minutes. and we
You didn't know you'd have that option or you'd have that much.
Yeah, so there was a lady standing there and we're like, hey, there's a few plays that we're familiar with, but like we just want to see something that's good and that's going to be entertaining and whatever. And she was like, honestly, I would see Beetlejuice. Like, it's super entertaining, it's super in your face, lots of good music, lights. There's a lot of good like what do they call it, like illusions and magic and trapdoors and things like that. Effects, thank you. And so we went to it, and honestly, I enjoyed it thoroughly. I think it had like most musicals do. Sometimes they try to get to the end too quick because they've done too much in the beginning. But other than that, it was a great time. We went to the Barstool bar that's in Philly. We didn't eat anything there. That was a pretty cool place, though. Really nice bar. I was kind of surprised.
You were able to place bets out there, though, right?
Yeah. So crazy thing, you can play table games and slots from your phone.
That's dangerous.
It has been very dangerous because you can literally just set, okay, I'm going to set this to auto spin 50 spins, and you can just lock your phone and put it down and then go about your business and then come back and be like, oh yeah, I won $30. Re-auto spin. So that's been a little dangerous. I've been trying to take that easy. We were in Philly. We were basically doing some sightseeing before. We went to Independence Hall. We saw the Liberty Bell. We saw George Washington's house that he stayed in when he was in Philadelphia.
Was he there?
Yeah, he was there. It's rare that you go to his house and he's actually there. But yeah, it was pretty crazy. And then we went through the Revolution. Is it the Revolutionary Hall or Museum?
Museum of the American Revolution.
Museum of the American Revolution. And they have George Washington's original war tent.
That's right. Yeah.
Which was very impressive.
Game worn and signed.
Game worn and signed.
Fuck, man.
Minted one of one.
But no, it was honestly, this is gonna come across as dumb, but I did not realize the value that the city of Philadelphia held in our American history. It was very, very cool to learn about it. But to get to what we were talking about, the game. We made the mistake of going to this Barstool bar. I didn't really realize the time and location and whatever. But we decided to go. We get a few beers, and we quickly realized that we need to make our way to the game if we're going to get any tailgating done. Now we get in this Uber with this man who I assume is Eastern European of some kind, and he has a call center headset on.
Perfect.
Continuing a conversation.
Brittany.
Yes, he had the Brittany mic.
Yeah.
And he was continuing the conversation he was having with whomever.
In the third language.
In the third language.
He's got to make a living.
Yeah, and doesn't, skip a beat having a combo with this person, could give a shit about us. But we're on the freeway, and it's basically deadlock stop. And Chase is like, let's just get out. Let's just hop out. Walk
on the freeway?
On the freeway. and Sarah and I are kind of like, I don't know about this. And
how often are we doing this?
Never. I've never walked on a freeway. But thank God we agreed to it, because there's this huge block on the exit we were trying to get off to the stadium. The cops were redirecting everybody. So it ended up being a good decision. We end up walking through the tailgating parking lot, and how many beers did I acquire for us?
Somehow, as we walk through the parking lot, before we reach the stadium, B-Town here, or as you know him as Braxton, I guess.
Braxtastic, maybe.
Braxtastic acquired 10 beers and 3 or 4 shots of different liquor for the 3 of us.
Just from stopping by different tailgates?
Just from stopping by different personal
bumming a beer.
Just bumming it off of them. So
I was impressed with myself.
He's got a talent.
That's a good skill.
But no, it was everybody in the Philly tailgate was very accommodating.
We just got a knock on the door.
Hold that thought.
I don't know why I would have a knock on my door at 7:38 p.m. Hold on.
Tell me if it's Jehovah, because I'll take my clothes off.
Could be the Mormon missionaries.
I hope it is.
Oh, snap. Much appreciated. Have a good night.
Who that?
Actually,
was that your neighbor?
Yeah.
Oh. Ooh.
I know.
I thought we were going to die.
This will actually be for a second conversation here coming up.
Go on.
So yeah, everybody was very, very nice in the Philly tailgate. They hooked us up. In fact, there was this one group that gave us beers and was like, here, just have the rest of our Fireball. And there was only maybe 3 swigs left. So we finished it and we gave it back to them. We're like, hey, thank you so much. Then we walked off, and then she came back up to us with a half gallon of Tito's and was like, hey, we're not going to finish this.
Oh my
God. And we're like, yep. So we were just ripping Tito's. So literally from the time we entered that parking lot to the time we left the parking lot, we went from sober to pretty good and buzzed.
Nice.
Walking into the stadium.
Talk about the opposite of what you hear about Philly fans. You were welcomed right away.
Sure were, yeah.
Honestly, it could not have been a more pleasant experience.
Now, okay, I'm not asking you to judge against the Chargers tailgate, but we had a really good experience at the Chargers one too, where we didn't have a home or anything. We did bring our own alcohol for that. But I mean, gosh,
I don't have to be at other NFL tailgates
great.
to know that the LA tailgate is on the bottom of the list.
Yeah.
That's not a
Maybe
real
Chargers
NFL
won.
tailgate.
Yeah, I agree with Miguel. This experience was definitely, and again, this was even towards the end of people tailgating. So a lot of people already packed up, and this is kind of towards the tail end. And no, they everybody was so kind. Don't get me wrong, when you're in the stadium, if you're not one of them, you're getting motherfucked every way you can look.
Right.
It was
And you
not
were
us.
at an NFC East divisional rivalry game against the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, it doesn't get, I mean, there's not many games that get as contentious as that.
Agreed. And how long do you think was the longest period of time when we were in that stadium between a fuck the Cowboys?
45 seconds.
It was constant from all over. It was just like, oh, every 30 seconds you hear somebody just yelling, fuck the Cowboys. It was wonderful.
Nice. Okay, so you guys were sitting in an end zone. You were not one of the guys who decided. Did you guys see the video? And I'll put it up for our YouTube listeners. A fan who somehow was able to jump down or get around and run out with the Eagles when they were introduced at the start of the game, you know, like with all of the pomp and circumstance or whatever.
I
did not see that.
Yes. Yeah. So
somehow he made it in there. It was great.
And he got all the way through and then he was arrested afterwards, but it didn't stop. They didn't get him until after he completed the mission. So good for him.
It was worth it.
I mean, that's worth it. He like ran out with the team.
Yes.
Yeah, he was in the middle of the
tunnel all the way out.
That's incredible.
I think he was waving a towel, right?
It was just like
he was in the middle of all the players. He's in the
like
hoodie.
a helicopter.
He just looked like the equipment manager going out with the squad.
Yeah,
it was like mostly like you have these 6'5", 300-pounders, and you have a tiny guy in the hoodie waving a towel. Like you could not stick out more.
Awesome.
So, but I mean, the players didn't do anything about it. They were dialed in at that point.
But no, I would say, I mean, I was telling Chase, because I mean, we've been to a couple of football games now, and obviously in the NFL, it's kind of another level of excitement and pomp and circumstances that you kind of mentioned,
right?
Comparatively to the many college games that we've gone to, but this was definitely a heightened level for the things that you had mentioned with the division rivalry and obviously the history. Yeah,
all of it.
Yeah, nationally televised game. It was, yeah, man. I've never been in a stadium, even because I've gone to big Oregon games too, but like I've never been in a stadium where you can look around and you couldn't find a group of 3 seats together that were empty.
Right.
Absolutely soup to gills filled, and this place was rocking. It was like,
yeah, adrenaline inducing. I imagine, like, you know, you could feel that coursing through you at that point.
I'm happy that for a primetime game that you got to experience that kind of game instead of like, you know, like
any Broncos
like last
game.
night, you know, like to
Broncos
go to Philly
right
and
now.
to see like a shitty game. I'm glad you got a good one in you.
yeah, it was awesome, and it was Chase's first game. So I mean,
Really,
what was your overall experience for it?
Yeah, ditto to everything that Braxtastic said.
You don't have to call him Braxtastic.
I feel like I don't need to go to another NFL game.
Yeah, it was like
you hit the peak.
Right, yeah, it's like, you know, the first time I ever went to a Broadway show, I was like first row of Phantom of the Opera, and it's just like you could feel like the fire hit, like
you can feel the Phantom.
You can,
right. So to go to Beetlejuice after that would just be like,
calm down.
Don't do it.
Yeah, it's like losing your virginity to Carmen Electra. It's like everything after that is probably not going to be that great.
Or having a nice cheese slice from Domino's and then going to shitty John's of Bleecker.
I know.
This doesn't.
You're really hooked on this Domino's thing, huh?
Yeah. So speaking of food comparison, did you do the full circuit, the full gamut of the cheesesteak? We're eventually going to stop talking about food, but
I doubt it.
But we haven't even eaten our dinner yet, so we're.
No, we made the executive decision that we were going to go to Del Sandro's. So Del Sandro's is like kind of a little bit on the outskirts of Philly, but I think you guys have heard this too. We've kind of talked about this in the past, and I kind of got the confirmation of this when I was here. is at Pat's and Gino's, like there's a lot of hype around it. It's really more for the name and like the history, but it's not like really the best cheesesteak
version of it. Yeah.
And when we were deciding to go, it was like 5:30, 5:45. And so we would have had to fight against traffic to get downtown to where they are. And Del Sandra's is a place that I had heard of as being a good place. Chase had some friends that live near there and had recommended it. So we were like, you know what? We're going to trust our gut. We're going to go to Del Sandra's. And it was very good. I will say it wasn't the best cheesesteak I've ever had, which I thought it was going to be like mind blowing. And that's probably the own hype I've put behind getting a cheesesteak in Philly.
Like virginity sex with Carmen Electra type of.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
Same exact thing.
Yeah. You thought that you were going to be having sex with Carmen Electra in your mouth.
But it was Dennis Rodman instead.
Yeah.
When you turn on the lights, it's Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, you go, well, you were wearing a dress, so.
But no, it was good. And it was like the vibes were great. It was literally just like in the middle of this neighborhood. It had a single sign that said Stella Sandro's, beer, hoagies. There was a window.
Also the food cart one.
Oh, and then we went on a bus tour today that took us around like Philly, one of the double deckers. It was very, very interesting. Had an incredible tour guide. And there was this like stop where people could get out. It was, 20-minute stop, go get bathroom break or whatever. And Chase sneaks off and he just goes to one of the corner little carts and grabs, a soggy Philly cheesesteak. And honestly, it was just as good, if not maybe a little better than the Del Sandro's, but
find the best ones on the street, man.
Exactly. Always.
Well, and this guy, who was at the cart or whatever, told Chase, he's like, yeah, I've been slinging cheesesteaks from this corner for 35 years.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Was it right next? How much Rocky Monument stuff did you see on this drive?
So we actually went to the Rocky steps today.
Braxton has never seen Rocky.
I have never seen Rocky.
Yeah, there's something wrong with both of them.
I know. We've had this conversation within the podcast about like I have not seen dude movies. Rocky being one of. I've not seen any of them. None of the Creeds. None of the 1, 2, 3s. None of it.
How did you?
But I know the references. Like I get.
Rocky was too violent for the Mormon life. That's why Braxton hasn't seen it.
That can't be true though, because I've seen all the Rockies, and I was in the Mormon life
way harder
than Braxton ever was.
Yeah, no, he's right. I just dropped the ball on it. But no, we went to the Philadelphia Museum of Art. We walked up the steps. We stood. Duh.
Can't run.
I've walked close to like 50 miles in the last 3-0,
including 5 on a freeway.
Yes, exactly. But no, we went up the steps. They have the 2 footprints where Rocky stood on top of it. We took pictures from there. But I will say that probably one of the more like beautiful things I saw on this trip was the Philadelphia Art Museum. It was closed. So we just walked around the grounds. And so there was almost no people out there. And it felt like we were walking around like a Roman, what do you even call it? Colosseum or Roman temple. Like it has all these spires and very ornate molding upon the top. It was absolutely beautiful.
Nice. How was the people watching type of a thing? You have good people watching? I always love it, like whenever I'm traveling, there's always just like people in wild get-ups or interesting experiences that happen.
You try to get in a fight?
Yeah.
You get in a fight at the tailgate?
No, no. Thankfully, everybody was very kind at the tailgate. In New York, I definitely thought I would see more weird people, but I didn't really. I would say the most intriguing interaction I had with a stranger was right as we were landing in JFK. There was a grown man sitting to the left of me in the row next to me in the middle seat, just projectile vomited over himself and the people next to him right before we landed.
Welcome to New York.
And so I literally had my face buried in a hoodie, trying not to smell it while we were landing. Because as you know, I'll puke really easy.
Reverse, yes. Exactly.
Yeah. So
how many flash mobs have you seen?
0.
How did you enjoy that $120 cab ride into the city? I bet you enjoyed that. JFK is way out there unless someone picked you up.
Then Jared gets almost so car sick from this guy city driving. He's literally gassing as hard as he can for 20 feet and then braking, gassing, braking. Jared has her head out the window like she's about to puke. So it was not great.
Hot puke talk to enter the New York scene. So
Yeah.
and good. It's good because you see all those different types of puddles and such, and you don't know what type of liquid that it is, and never step in the puddles. There's that.
Yeah.
I asked the people watching experience. I want to weave in a quick little story about this weekend. We went to a pumpkin patch. Usually, like you go and you have like your boots on and your jeans and your autumnal stuff. You got your pumpkin spice latte or whatever. It was 85 degrees, it was 87 degrees when we went. So we did not do that. We just did shorts and t-shirts or whatever. So it was very dressed down. There was like one gal, I asked Lindsay, I was like, what point, like how long into this do we see like just like the basic bitch of a person who's just like really embracing, doesn't care how hot it is, but they're going to wear the flannel no matter what. That happened towards the end, but there was one couple. We do this hayride. We do like a little hayride around the grounds, and right at the end there is this couple that has like this smallish looking husky dog. I don't know, there's all these iterations of husky dogs or whatever, but they get on to the back of the hayride, and they sit next to these kids up front. There was that was the last 2 spots for them. So they're like, oh hey, this is our dog. It's a very friendly dog or whatever. And as they're moving, the guy wants to get a picture of his dog on the hay bale in which he was sitting on. So he gets up and he kind of like proceeds to like stick his ass in the kid's face where he had just like said, hey, pet my dog and everything. But that wasn't the issue. The issue was that man had the highest man thong I had ever seen in my entire. I've never seen a man with a thong on, but that thing was like as high up wedgied man thong that I ever seen. And now it's in this like 10-year-old's face as he's taking a picture of his dog. It was unreal. That's all. That's what I saw, and that was here in Oregon.
Have you never worn a thong before?
No. Have you?
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
When?
Chase Wild, attorney at law, have you ever
What do
worn
you
a
mean
man
when?
thong?
Like it just shows. Whenever you want to feel good.
We do have, and I'll put it onto the YouTube right now. Lindsay did an over the shoulder. It wasn't a full on like up, but like when she took the picture, there was a little bit showing. So, and you can't see his face. So I'm not like outing or shaming this guy or whatever.
I do want to hear Chase's answer to that question.
Yes, man thong, Chase Wild, attorney at law.
I definitely would be open to it, but no.
I can confirm that he has worn a banana hammock.
All right.
Yeah,
the ones that go up over the shoulders.
Yeah. Full bush out and everything.
I bought one of those.
I don't have a bush.
Like, oh, nice. Good for you.
Yeah, don't
Good
just
for
assume
you.
that he has a
Good
bush.
for you.
How dare you?
Yeah.
When Chase.
That's why we need Manscaped as a sponsor here.
Yeah, we talked about that a couple weeks ago. When Chase got married, I was one of the few friends in our friend group who had sex before. And so I was given the responsibility of going to like the sex shop or whatever and getting, fun things for them to, have on their wedding night. And I acquired a yellow banana hammock.
The Borat or whatnot?
Yeah,
yeah. It was actually green.
It was green.
It was a green one. Beautiful.
Yeah, it was one of the ones that came up over the shoulders. Right?
Yes, it did. He also got me a pair of fuzzy handcuffs.
Wow.
Were still in my suitcase when we went on our honeymoon to Mexico. And the airport police in Mexico stopped me because they saw these handcuffs in the x-ray machine.
Oh.
I didn't know that.
And said, what are
take
these
it?
for? What are these for, sir?
Did they confiscate it?
Surprisingly, no, they let me have them.
They let you have it.
They know what's up. They know
Promise
what's up.
there for a second.
They said, are these for business or for play?
Both.
A little bit of both.
Yeah. How about that?
Oh goodness.
I love that. This is a little like, you know, like I'm not saying that I thought that Chase Wild Attorney at Law was going to be like more of a not buttoned up, but more like a straight edge guy.
You thought he was going to be uptight?
Yeah, a little bit.
He's friends with Braxton. What makes you think he was going to be uptight?
You know, sometimes you got to have like your yin and your yang.
Have you met Braxton?
Right. But I mean, like, I'm more on like on the straight edge side.
Well,
Aren't
well,
I?
the thing
You're
is,
square.
Yeah.
something I think you've got to understand is that probably, 5 years ago, you would probably consider Chase to be more of a quote unquote straight edge guy, wouldn't you say?
A little more than 5 years ago, but yes,
Yeah.
I've had a metamorphosis of sorts.
Sure. You guys have been forged through trauma bonding, right? From trauma bonding is the strongest type of friendship through.
Yes, that's why Braxton and I are so close. Is nothing forges relationships faster and stronger than shared
and religious. Then yes, and religious angst.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's fair to say.
Totally get that.
The first time Chase ever met me, I would consider a religious experience as well. I'm pretty sure I shoved like 3 corn dogs in my mouth.
Without biting them, just like shove them in and out.
Just deep throating dogs.
Yeah,
Getting them wet.
3 was when I entered the room, but the number went up much higher than 3 before it was open.
The box was still open next to him. More to come.
Yeah. Any streaking stories with Braxton? Because didn't who am I thinking of? Minnesota. Vikings fan guy who
P-Lunt.
Yeah. Don't you and P-Lunt have some streaking stories?
No, the streaking story that I have.
Didn't you streak through Barnes Park?
I did. That's the streaking story I have was with Chase, with the horse mask.
Yes. Honestly,
This all sounds weird.
Yeah, a horse mask and streaking in Barnes Park. Tell me more.
Well, my experiences with Braxton, like he said, we've known each other for 2 decades now, so they kind of blend together. It's hard to remember where one ends and one begins, but at one point he did run through a public park where there were children and
no.
and adults. Baseball games were being played and nothing.
Daytime.
I think it was
like 6, 7. Maybe.
So
okay, but light enough where people could.
Sun was going down.
Yes, the light of the moonlight shone off of his naked ass.
Yeah, the mooning from you as well.
Yes, as he ran through the park and nothing but one of those horse masks.
The rubber horse mask.
Rubber horse mask.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the type of shit that can get you killed in other places. I feel like.
My goodness.
Only in Utah do people just stop and stare and then they go on with their day. The
Sure.
funny thing is I didn't know that. You remember Francesca Roth?
Yeah, just give out her full
Yes, I
government.
remember.
Yeah.
I don't know if the statute of limitations has run on this crime, so
Right.
Okay.
It's best
Well,
to
let's
not.
say allegedly that a girl who I went to church with was there. I didn't know she was there, and this was, I believe, on a Friday or Saturday night. And on Sunday, I went to church, And she was like, guys, you won't believe what happened. I was at Barnes Park the other night, and some guy runs through butt naked with a horse mask
A
on.
horse mask on. You would have never thought. You had
And
to
I
be
was
there.
like, what? That's crazy.
No.
He had such a big dick. She disagreed.
Is that what she said?
Is that how that went down?
Yeah.
Yeah, the surprising thing about that story is that she didn't recognize Braxton from his
Yeah, sure.
Well, hey, easy now.
It was a binding shaft.
But no, I think
Flat ass.
I think I've told these guys, Peter and Miguel, about Tommy, and I don't think they quite understand just how incredible that car was.
my Mustang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys remember me telling you about the white Mustang with the blue flames?
I didn't remember that the Mustang had a name, but I
Yeah.
do remember the Mustang conversation.
And it's unfortunate how he got this Mustang, because I think I was a little bit at fault for that. Because didn't you get the money from the punch? Wasn't that part of it?
The punch?
I was punched in the face when we went to a midnight premiere of Batman Dark Knight Rises.
Sure. As tends to happen. Why not?
Yes, these things happen in Utah, unprovoked, of course. And there was a settlement that eventually happened where I got some money that may or may not have gone towards a 1965 Mustang that I had painted pearl white with ghost blue flames.
Beautiful.
That sounds like a great deal to me.
Sure does.
That
is interesting that Braxton and I both have best friends who have been punched unprovoked in parking lots. One of my high school best friend, we were at the Buffalo Wild Wings, and there was that very drunk guy who knocked my buddy out, and he also got a settlement out of it too. So how about it?
Yeah, and the unfortunate part about that story is that I was there. There was a couple friends there, and no joke, like this really was one of the most unprovoked punches I've ever seen in my life, and we didn't do a thing. It's probably my number one most regretted moment in my life.
Is that you didn't retaliate?
That we did not do a thing. This dude knocked out our best friend clean cold for no reason.
You got knocked out totally? Or you didn't just
get
punched?
He had to get life flighted.
I actually
No way.
I actually have no memory of the event ever happening. I don't remember that entire day.
Wow.
Yeah, this dude.
You have to go and see the movie again, huh? That sucks.
The worst part, I hate to admit this, we all went and saw the movie.
It happened before the movie, so
You went and saw the movie after he got life flighted? You dick.
I know.
You should feel bad about yourself.
His dad still gives us all shit about it.
You deserve to get shit for the rest of your life for that.
Well, like I said, it's probably one of my more regrettable moments my entire life. I think about that often.
That shouldn't be one of the most regrettable. That should be the number one.
So Braxton, tonight, as tonight's loser of this episode, all right, both of you stand up. Chase, you are going to get just a cold, just clean punch. Just knock this guy out right now on the Zoom call. You get on. Don't put your arms up.
Oh, man.
You get a clear punch at him. That is his punishment tonight.
Man,
I know. I think Chase. I don't know if he's going to the bathroom or
no. He's about to just like get his shoulder loose.
Push-ups in the corner.
Yeah. He's getting his shoulder loose right now.
What happens if like when we all get together and like someone knocks me out? Do you back me up or what?
I make sure the guy goes to jail. Like I'm the producer guy who makes sure
here's
that
the thing. I've been in 2 fights since then with friends where my friends have started or, had altercations. And both times I was the first person to get involved, to help, to do whatever, because no joke, I think about that often.
Because this memory with Chase haunts you and will haunt you forever.
It does. It does. And because I agree, what a pussy move. What a pussy move.
I mean, that's an understatement. I'm embarrassed for you. I'm cringing right now that you didn't step up.
I know. And he let you into his home.
I know. He's too kind. He's too kind.
Any other cringe stories about Braxton? I know that we're putting you on the spot a little bit, but before we start talking about sports this evening, I do like, we've had a number of guests on this show from my past who have divulged stories about me. So I always like to return this favor. So far we have Braxton not standing up for Chase Wild, attorney at law, getting knocked out and going to see a movie. We have naked Braxton running through Barnes Park. What else do we have? Anything?
How big is Braxton's dick?
On a scale of 1 to criminal.
Show us and one, like show your fingers.
Yeah.
Which one?
I'll just tell you verbally. I feel like I'm not just saying
it's illegal to pack what he is doing in 37 states.
I'd say it's above average.
All right. Congratulations.
So 3.5.
But no, I mean, I feel like there's probably too many stories I could tell for the however long of a segment we have. But
like the most embarrassing one, since he didn't back you up for getting knocked out.
One that comes to my mind that was my memory was refreshed when you talked about a jizz burrito.
Yeah, jizz burrito off the top of the show.
I'm not positive what that was about. Surprisingly, I wasn't there for that, but we spent a lot of time in my house and in my basement just killing time, not really having anything to do, right? And one of these nights we had nothing to do and Braxton needed some extra cash. So he came up with
the $1 bills out.
He offered to do something for cash. And one of our friends said, well, would you drink my piss for some cash?
Oh, wow.
He said, yeah. And another friend said, what if I added to the pot? He said, as long as you're willing to contribute, then yeah. And, I don't believe in degrading someone like that. But I also believe in free will and a person's autonomy. So if Braxton was willing to drink some urine for cash, I threw in $1 as well.
Did you piss in it?
I also added some of my own juices.
Oh, how many total guys pissed in a cup?
We pissed in the toilet.
Oh, and you pull. Oh no!
Whoa!
You pissed in the toilet and you scooped it out?
Yes.
Oh,
how many guys pissed in the toilet?
I don't remember how many. It's more than 3.
No, it was 3.
It was oh my god!
And how much money did he get?
Tom, Zach, and you.
I don't even remember how much money was at stake, but it was not life-changing.
No, it was like $10 each maximum.
No, I promise you, I did not add $10.
Yeah, it didn't exceed 10, huh?
No, in total, it might have been 10.
So that's why Braxton had such a good time in jail, was because he curried favor.
I got $20.
But he took a healthy gulp from a cup.
This is actually shocking because for anyone who is a normal listener of this podcast, Braxton refuses. He draws so many lines on how far we can go when it comes to punishment. Like okay,
full on bitch.
Yeah, just full on. And the fact is that you were hard up for $20 and you drank your best friend's piss. You kidding me?
I had a feeling this might come up and brought up something because we were coming back from the airport. We were talking about how Jared got a little bit of car sickness.
Yeah.
And I had mentioned that, because he was like, well, Jared, why don't you sit in the front instead of Braxton? And she was like, well, Braxton gets more motion sickness than I do. And he looked at me, he was like, really? Like back in the day, you would eat, drink, do anything.
Yeah.
For like entertainment purposes, for a quick couple. And
today you get
something has changed. Because I'm a bitch when it comes to shit.
If I make gagging sounds, he gags.
He's done. He takes off it. I honestly thought that our friendship was going to be affected when I made you drink my wife's breast milk.
Yeah, that was tough.
That was
People
tough. That
pay
was like a
for
moment in our friendship that we had to come back from.
It's fucking mind blowing that for our podcast, for the listeners, for the world to see, you wouldn't eat my shit, but you drink piss for $20. Mother of God.
Hey, it's time and place. Time and place.
And and a little bit of moolah, just $20.
Yeah.
I will say I had to walk out of the noodle place we were at today.
I bet you did.
This dude sat behind us, and I mean, you've been to Hong Kong. You know what I'm talking about, Miguel.
Mm-hmm.
But he was slamming these.
Slurping that noodle.
Oh, the slurps. Yeah.
I had to get up and walk out of the restaurant.
It totally.
I was like, Jara, you pay this. I can't handle this any longer. So I don't know what's happened, but I have softened over the years.
Okay. So answer the question. So how much would it cost for you to do that? What you did for $20 when you were a kid?
I mean, thousands, tens of thousands, probably.
Just a quick gulp of pee. Now you're going overboard. Now you're going the extreme.
Exactly. I know.
I mean, I think thousands is a realistic answer.
Man's an opportunist now.
A quick gulp of piss for $1,000 you wouldn't do.
What's your number?
For piss?
I'm up there with you. I mean, but I didn't do it for $20 when I was a kid.
Well, sometimes when you're young, you've got to learn these lessons the hard way.
I suppose.
If we're talking just like a full cup or like a gulp, for a gulp, I do it for a large Hawaiian.
You know, my favorite part in all of this as we're talking about it is just like the satisfaction on CWAAL's face right now for being able to share that with the world. He is just so proud, and I love that.
He's provided
so
more as a guest, as one of Braxton's friends.
Yes,
as a guest than anyone else.
Like critical information.
I can see the contrast of color because we can see ourselves in the video. How red my face is.
You are a pretty pink individual.
I have a disclaimer I'd like to give.
Yes.
Sure.
Oh,
yes.
Go ahead.
Final words, parting thoughts for Chase Wild attorney.
Nothing I said during this podcast should be construed as an admission of guilt of any kind. Nor should it be taken as legal advice of any kind.
Perfect.
I feel like this is a disclaimer that shows up before ridiculousness with Rob Dyrdek.
Yeah, exactly.
Make sure we have that written on the YouTube for anybody who might be having hearing.
For sure, closed caption, and we'll also do a really long speed up thing where they speak in like 300% for 30 seconds as well.
You're protected, CWAAL. You're protected, and I definitely look forward to hanging out with you on Montana for sure.
Exactly.
Yes, I look forward to seeing you guys in person. Thanks for having me on.
Chase, thank you.
Chase Wild, attorney at law. You're the man.
Nice little butt slap as he goes. So, as we get into our sports talk, we will start with.
Let's talk about how Justin Herbert's a fucking fraud, huh?
No.
How about that?
Don't you dare do that. That Brandon Staley is the fraud. We're going to start in college football. College football where Tennessee upsets Alabama in what could be construed as the biggest game in over a decade for them.
We say fuck Tennessee, but I'm pretty sure we were all cheering for them.
Absolutely.
This weekend.
What an incredible finish for that. Just like the ability to be there, be around it. That was an atmosphere that was from start to finish, before, after, everything. That was like the pinnacle of college football.
I don't think you could have asked for any better. I mean, that was a certain amount of joy I haven't felt in a while, to be honest.
I'm not going to give you all of the story on air, but I was at a 24-hour bachelor party in Sun River, and we were in the house drinking, going back and forth between two great moments in sports, Tennessee, Alabama, and the fucking 45-inning Mariner game.
Yeah.
We're just switching back and forth, and it was insane.
So they tear down the goalposts. They throw it into the river. apparently.
Better than burning it.
They did. And so I don't know if you guys saw that the University of Tennessee then used this as an opportunity to fundraise, which I thought was kind of bullshit. They started essentially a GoFundMe so that fans could pay for the fine and pay for the goalposts that they had tore down. And basically, like, this again is a athletic department and a football department that pulls in over $100 million a year, that has over a $1 billion endowment fund, and decided, you know what, let's use this as an opportunity to try and get more money.
You don't like that?
I hate it.
You hate it just because the university has money?
Yes, because again, like, I mean, they treated it like when people put out GoFundMes, it's that they're hard up for cash. I didn't like the intention behind it.
Not recently. I've seen a lot of GoFundMe because it's easy to create it.
Yeah.
I like it.
You did?
I like it. It's, who gives a shit? Yes, all universities and college football, they have so much fucking money. I would have hated it if they punished the people who did that.
Sure.
But this is like a funny slap on the wrist. Like, you take it, you tear it down. Why don't you pay for it? And then you'll never see that happen again without hurting anyone.
In that context, I definitely agree with Miguel, but I do get what you're saying, Pete. It's kind of an overreach. It's like, yeah, you're taking advantage of your opportunity, but I agree with Miguel. I think the much stupider decision would have been to punish anybody.
Yeah, I just think that, like, there was video that came out, I think, of either the president or athletic director who was like smoking a cigar up in like the 80s suite.
He's like, I'm not paying for this.
And he was just like, oh, I don't care like what they're doing. I don't care if I'm going to get fined. And then the next day you see this kind of essentially a GoFundMe come out. One thing that was interesting about it, and I'm not sure if it's legitimate or not, but apparently the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, is fining the University of Tennessee $250,000 for the students dumping that goalpost into the river.
That's why they're making the students pay for it, because their money has to go to that fine.
So
that makes more sense, honestly.
But gosh, like, you know, just the fireworks going off,
just happy
like
Alabama lost.
Iconic photos of people like shirtless climbing these goalposts, and just like it was pandemonium. I've seen we've all seen it at this point, like different vantage points of everything happening, and you know, also to see Nick Saban go down and all that stuff.
I don't know if you guys have looked at the recent poll after that, but how many spots do you think Alabama dropped after that loss?
I know the answer to that.
Do you, Braxton?
I don't. I'm gonna guess 2.
They essentially swapped.
Yeah.
3 to 6.
I mean, this is just like an easy way, an easy cop out to make fun of Alabama. But Tennessee is undefeated.
They sure are.
But you know, Alabama doesn't move the needle that much, no matter what happens. So,
any other surprises from college football this weekend? Obviously, like, Michigan takes care of business. That wasn't, you know, overly a surprise. Penn State has just like, I forget the exact, they've been abysmal against top 10 teams recently. So
I don't think there's any mind-blowing surprises. I think the two that stand out, and one's not even a surprise because they're heading downhill fast. Stanford beat Notre Dame. A bad Stanford team beat Notre Dame, which is pretty bad. And a very dominant Oregon State against Washington State. I mean, they shut them down. They scored, but, you know, it was a pretty dominant game throughout. That was it. Yeah. Everything else is pretty much expected.
Yeah. The Utah USC game.
USC game was great.
Yeah, that was and especially doing that 2-point conversion.
I was able to bet college out here, and I had a parlay with Utah and Oregon State. So nice to see both those schools take it.
How'd that feel to bet on some college?
Dude, the gambling out here is so fun.
Did you win a lot on Barstool betting?
I did pretty well. I think overall I'm down probably like 40, maybe 60, but with how much I've slung around, we're Gucci.
Yeah. To talk about betting. I had a very bad week in betting, mostly because of the Packers' inability to do anything against the Jets. But you and I have both gotten baited. I think it's 2 weeks in a row by DraftKings. The first week being Cooper Kupp anytime touchdown, which was boosted from -150 to like plus 100 or plus 125. And then this last one, which was on Monday.
I'm gonna grab my headphones real quick. Keep talking about this.
Which was on Monday Night Football when Justin Herbert anytime passing touchdown, which was at -800, got boosted to plus 100. And the stat being that Justin Herbert in 26 of the last 27 games has thrown a passing touchdown. And then
it was a gimme.
It was a gimme. I mean, -800, of course it was a gimme.
Honestly, if there wasn't a cap on the max wager,
right, they only allowed us at $25.
I would have put like $250 on that. At least.
I mean, so DraftKings had a cap at $25. The stat being that Justin Herbert had a passing TD. Oh, sorry, my bad. 36 of 37 career starts before Monday Night Football. They boosted it from -800 to plus 100, and Justin Herbert does not have a passing touchdown. Unbelievable.
And I know that I've been hating more on the Chargers since you become a fan. That's not going to stop. And this isn't necessarily a knock on Herbert. It's easier to talk about it after last night's performance.
Sure, yeah.
But this isn't necessarily a knock on Herbert. It's more about the people that have hyped him up.
Yes, I mean, definitely
because he's good.
Oh, you're talking about Herbert himself.
Herbert himself, like Justin Herbert, is a really good quarterback, and he's a nice dude. You can't hate him.
Yeah, now he's on commercials.
But everyone has hyped this guy up as like the next coming of Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, a hybrid. Justin Herbert's 500 his entire career. He's like 19-19.
Right.
He hasn't won a playoff game.
Okay.
He hasn't won a Super Bowl. He hasn't taken his team to a Super Bowl. But the way people talk about him is like he hasn't lived up to that.
Well, okay, that's not exactly true.
What has he done?
Okay, it's not. I understand that it's a team sport, but when you look at his accolades personally up against the likes of the Patrick Mahomeses, he is right there in terms of stats, in terms of touchdowns, passes, average, all of that. So, yes, it is a full team game. And obviously, first year, he had Anthony Lynn, and now he has Brandon Staley, who may or may not be qualified for that job.
What do we blame?
But he's right up there.
So what do we blame it on?
Bring up all of it. I mean, gosh, you can blame it on over-aggressive coaching. You can blame it on a myriad of things.
So
not only that, but I mean, like, I'm not going to blame the fact that he has been a little bit banged up, but I mean, he's been a little bit banged up. Look at the Chargers right now. Every impact player is hurt.
Okay, I know you got on board 8 months ago, but you don't need to go that passionate.
I mean, that's true though. I mean, you look at like injuries, like you're looking at key impact players who are out for that.
So answer this for me. He has individual stats that stack up to so far who's great.
Mahomes, yes.
Right. So what do you blame it on when you're able to make those stats because he has a decent team around him, right?
I would say he has a pretty decent team.
Okay, so now you would say that about everyone. You're able to build up individual stats, passing yards, passing touchdowns, great completion percentage, rating, because you have the Keenan Allen to throw to. You have the Austin Eckler to throw to. Where's he taking that team? Because you're saying he's
wait.
Mahomes has taken his team all the way. So-and-so has taken his team to the Super Bowl, didn't win. Where's Justin Herbert taking that team that was able to help him get those stats?
But
Braxton, I'll answer, but I feel like we haven't let Braxton talk.
But here's the thing: do you really think that the Chargers are that talented because they are talented? I'll give you that, but they have one or two guys on defense. If Derwin James and Bosa are injured, they're pretty much nothing on defense. They don't have
Bosa is hurt currently,
and they don't have an incredible line by any means. I think that Justin Herbert brings a lot more to the Chargers than the Chargers provide to Justin Herbert.
Yes.
I think that the Chargers are much more in shambles without Herbert, and whatever team that Herbert's on
is better
because he's on it.
Like he is a difference maker for that team. So I understand where he hasn't necessarily taken them, but also like last night against the Denver Broncos, when all of a sudden a wide receiver gets over the top of JC Jackson, who is still recovering again from injury, has a bit of the yips and has like a confidence issue right now, who was pulled at halftime because of that confidence issue. They just like wide open to an offense where like Russ in the first quarter was made to look like this back to Russ cooking again.
Can we at least admit that the same way that I brought this up about the people hyping them up, at least admit and come out clean that when you like someone, you find reasons to why
certainly.
they're always ahead.
But, you know, like that, I'm not the
I mean,
only
to say that
person
the
who has done
fucking
that.
Chargers are in shambles is fucking insane.
I mean, I didn't say they were in shambles.
Derwin James, Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa. I mean, you can't keep bringing up injuries because everyone deals with that. Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, because like when you talk about Patrick Mahomes, you're talking about McCole Hardman is good because he's fucking made him good.
Right. And Juju Smith-Schuster had a career
Christ,
game
dude.
last night. I get that.
If you like someone, yeah, you come up with I'm just saying the way that this guy's been hyped up, it's not his fault. It's people around him, all these fans, they've hyped him up like he's already better than Aaron Rodgers, than Tom Brady, than Mahomes.
I would think that also up against the class that he is up against as well.
Joe Burrow's ahead of him.
No. How dare you?
Joe Burrow went to the fucking Super Bowl.
He did. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's
well
a pretty big argument.
Yeah, and I think that I mean you have a point with that argument, but I do agree with what you're.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I do agree with what you're saying, Miguel. Like for people to place all the blame on the Chargers organization, I think is dumb. This is definitely a collective thing. I think whatever Staley's doing is, I mean, it's obviously not working. And I get like sticking to your guns, and we've probably beaten this to a dead horse over the last couple of years. Like I get sticking to your guns and sticking to the analytics, but it's like it's not working, dude. And the fact is like when Justin Herbert is able to kind of go off and take a little bit of control of the game, especially in those clutch situations, he's pretty good. But it seems like his play calling is like not really in favor of that. So I don't know. I think it's definitely collective blame on the Chargers. I don't think it's anybody's fault.
I'll be the first one
specifically.
to admit. I'll be the first one to admit. I'm just pissed that I fucking lost money last night.
Yeah.
They didn't throw a touchdown.
I totally
pass.
get. No, and I totally get that. I mean, like the Broncos defense is actually very good. I mean, you look at like through 6 games, they've allowed just a handful of passing touchdowns this entire year.
I mean, Herbert was startled the entire night.
I mean, he didn't have like a pass over 15 yards like the whole night. So I mean, like the crazy stat, I don't have it right in front of me. They have just like a handful. They have less than 5 passing touchdowns this entire year through 6 games, and they're 2-4 as a team. I mean, like, and that kind of takes me to the next point, which is again about Russ. So Russ on Monday Night Football, 10 for 10 to start. Everyone's like, wow, Russ is cooking. And then he goes like 4 for 13 or 4 for 16 the rest of the night and just like is abysmal. You saw Jerry Jeudy on the sidelines pissed off with that. Did you guys see this video? And I saw it earlier and I wasn't able to save it.
Gordon?
No, that we talked about the Melvin Gordon one last week.
No, but Judy and Melvin Gordon on the sideline.
Right. Okay, so that was Judy and Melvin Gordon. Right. So there's that one. But did you see the video from outside the locker room where Russ was out? They had just lost, and he is trying to dap up his team. Is like, good job, good job, good job. And people are walking by him. And just
he's lost the room.
Making sure that they are not going to high five him. The fact is, like, just go in the locker room and be pissed, right? Versus this whole thing where you go, good job, guys, good job. You know, just this whole thing, this rah thing. It's up, and you know they're trying to dismiss whether or not there are problems. But I mean, this is a team that has. I mean, like totally, like he's lost the room. The coach has lost control.
Russ is a type of guy that would annoy me. The overly positive, nice guy that sees the bright silver lining and everything. And sometimes when I'm mad, just like, let me be mad.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, it's gonna be okay. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe the Seahawks knew something that no one else did. It's like, we're done with this guy.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly what I was just gonna say. Like every week that the Broncos are on primetime television, Pete Carroll just looks smarter and smarter, especially with them being kind of scrappy with Geno Smith right now.
Give me
It's
Gino.
like
Give me Gino.
this all makes Pete Carroll look very smart. And the same things that made Russell endearing in Seattle, like kind of that he was like this odd, nice guy who wasn't like this hardened football player type, now make him look very weird and foolish in
And cringy.
Denver. And yeah, because he's not winning.
So cringy.
On our Twitter page, I had tweeted last night, no more Broncos on primetime.
Right, but I think that they have like 7
It's fucking
games.
insane.
It's insane. I think they have the most of any team.
But I
this
also
year.
followed up that tweet.
They've had 3 out of 6 weeks, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what were they expecting? They were just gonna run the table. It was insane.
If we're looking at Broncos QB records through their first 6 games, Kyle Orton 6-0, Trevor Siemian 5-1, Drew Lock 4-2, Brock Osweiler 4-2, Tim Tebow 3-3, Teddy Bridgewater 3-3, Case Keenum 2-4, Joe Flacco 2-4, Russell Wilson 2-4.
I did follow up that tweet with after RG3 posted that video of Melvin Gordon and Jerry Jeudy being pissed on the sideline. I tweeted at RG3, you're trying too hard to go viral. And it's just looking like a worse version of Skip Bayless.
I'm glad that someone else is getting the Skip Bayless treatment. Okay, so another team that's in a little bit of disarray, I think, is what's going on with the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals having a little bit of trouble with Kyler and Cliff, and then now they're gonna get Hopkins,
DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, they're gonna get Hopkins back, and they just traded for Robbie Anderson, and that was quite an interesting debacle that happened this past weekend, where interim head coach Steve Wilkes kicked Robbie Anderson out of the game after he had a bit of a verbal altercation with his wide receivers coach. So
see what Antonio Brown started?
I know, gosh. It kind of like, and we can talk about the Cardinals within this conversation, but Braxton and Miguel, I wanted to have this conversation, Braxton, earlier in the season, earlier in the podcast season. You were talking about wanting the first 6 weeks to be the test for these teams. And I'm curious, if we kind of look up and down of where each team is at, do you think that we know where these teams are at 6 weeks in? Because we did just come off a weekend where Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady just lost to teams that they shouldn't have lost to. But I mean, also, yeah, like what are our thoughts amongst all these teams at this point?
Well, I think when this conversation originally happened, we were talking about, okay, let's choose our divisional winners, let's choose our conference winners, let's choose our Super Bowl winners. And I think we chose our 2 Super Bowl winners. But I will say that if you were to ask me those same questions today, I feel that I'm in a much, much better position to answer them. And I don't think what has occurred this week, specifically with the Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers loss.
Right,
like,
and Lamar Jackson losing to an NFC team for the first time ever.
Exactly. I don't think those things are necessarily flukes. I think that some of these teams that have been I say historically, but I mean like in the last 5 years have been bad, are kind of making these comebacks. And I mean, for example, the Dolphins, obviously, when they have Tua, the Jags, the Jets, some of these teams that have just been like historically terrible are now like, okay, you have to plan for this. You have to make sure you mark your calendar for these games because they're coming out to play.
I saw something today that said if you took the Giants, the Steelers, the Jets, and what was another upset? There's another like big spread. Anyway, those 4 games, if you bet on the underdog, it was like
the Falcons.
The Falcons against the Niners. It was like It was like $100 to pay $13,000 or something like that. But yes, I did take the Steelers in my survivor pool as a loser, so that sucked. I'm not terribly surprised that the Steelers beat the Bucks. I'm not that surprised that the Jets beat
the
Packers. I'm not that surprised that the Giants beat the Ravens or the Falcons. Their record doesn't show it, but I'm not that surprised that they beat the Niners. What I was surprised,
they have that in them this year.
What I was surprised about, not that they're on a roll, that the Browns got fucking annihilated at home by the Patriots. Are the Patriots for real? Yeah. Are they that for real? Or because the Browns, you have Nick, they're not bad, but at home, yeah, I'm a little bitter that I had them at plus 11 on an alternate spread. Sure. But how do you get murdered at home by the Patriots?
Yeah, by now, that too. And are we supposed to think that Bailey Zappi is the guy? It could be. I
Mac Jones out of a job.
I wouldn't put it past him.
Well,
Tom Brady replacing Drew Bledsoe type deal.
Yeah.
I will say, first of all, the Zappy hour is on and it's real. I
think it is too.
I'm behind it. I'm behind it, especially from Western Kentucky or something. I'm all about
he didn't
it.
go that far. He went around later than Malik Willis.
But Jacoby Brissett,
not it.
I don't think so. He looked like trash. He was at least serviceable the first 4 or 5 weeks. I would say the first 4 weeks. These last 2 weeks, it's been damn, dude. Do you know what game we're playing?
I know. Just run the ball the whole time.
I know.
I think that the biggest, to see the Jets and the Giants, I think this is the first time definitely in over a decade, but you have them at 9-3 combined, 5-1 and 4-2. I think that the New Yorks in general, I think that we saw, a lot of people had the, Jets winning 5 games this year. I like the way that each team is winning and who they're doing it against. I think that bigger surprises on the year. I don't think anyone saw the Eagles going 6-0, although they do have a relatively easy schedule, easy comparatively. All games are tough, but based off of, strength of schedules, they're taking care of business. They're not dropping games. And then to see the Vikings kind of winning ugly in certain respects is also good.
You don't know what you're going to get out of the Vikings.
Yeah, you have no idea. They're a very frustrating type of team. But to see that the NFC West has all their teams right at 500 or right below, I would have thought that the Bucks would be better than 3-3 right now. But I think we all saw the bottom dwellers in the Panthers. I thought that maybe the Lions would be a little bit better because I watched Hard Knocks. I don't know if you guys knew that.
You did?
I sure did.
Don't say.
To see that the NFC West is producing some of the best records as well.
I think we would be lying if we said that we expected the 2 New York teams to have the record and to be playing the way that they are now.
I thought that they'd both be around 500.
But we did
right
say that they were the top 2 teams that improved drastically from the draft. And so I'm not super surprised that they're playing this well. I will say outside of the Eagles, I'm not worried about Tampa Bay. I know the Eagles will be on the top of NFC. I'm not worried about Tampa Bay.
You're not worried about how people, and this is where I think you and I will disagree greatly, is whether or not we've talked about QBs losing the locker room. Is it possible that whatever preferential treatment that Tom Brady is getting is growing old with these guys? Because here's the thing. He doesn't practice on Wednesdays. That's fine. I get that. On Friday, he's going off and he's going to Robert Kraft's wedding, right? So he's going to Bob Kraft's wedding up in New York, where a bunch of people, a bunch of celebrities were there and all this other stuff. So maybe he gets a little bit loose on Friday. He doesn't go to the walkthrough on Saturday. He arrives by private jet to Pittsburgh. And then he plays on Sunday, and then he goes and you see him yelling at his offensive line for saying like you're better than this and all that when he's not doing part of his job. He's not there. Like what favor has he curried at that point? And then I saw this video where Cameron Brate is being carted off on a stretcher on essentially in like a little, not an ambulance, but whatever that thing is, a golf cart. And rather than be there for his teammate, Tom Brady was off over there throwing off to the side with one of the trainers. It was like, what kind of a look is that? Like when you think about building a team and saying like, we're in war together, like it's them and him, like they're not together. And that's what I don't like, is that like there's not, that shtick is going to grow thin, I feel like.
Well, in your opinion, yes, because you are 100% an optics guy. Tom Brady couldn't care any less about optics.
Yeah.
He doesn't give a fuck about optics. I'm not saying he deserves special treatment, nor has he earned anything, but his stature that he's created with the NFL, we're not talking about Russell Wilson. I mean, if you think that they're playing terribly because of what he's doing, I don't think that would be the reason. I don't think whoever would be pissed off about that are the guys that matter.
Sure.
Well, and the thing,
guys back him up.
Yeah.
And the thing is that he has earned it.
Like, yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, he's earned a lot. But I just wonder at a certain point when people are going to be like, "Fuck you, dude! Like you're not here."
When he doesn't win anymore,
but right now they're 3-3.
You judge it.
Yeah. So
with Tom Brady, he has earned judging him by the season. You don't judge him by going 500 in this first 6 games. It's
one of his worst starts to a season in his career. So,
I think you talk about Tom Brady at the end of the season and see what he accomplished.
Yeah. They are also another team that has been inflicted by impact player injury. So I'll give them that, especially on the offense.
I think they're in the NFC Championship.
Yeah, and as of right now, they sit outside of the top 10. They're at 11 at 3-3. And looking at this, I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 teams that I don't think any of us would have put in the top 10 probably at the beginning of the season. That's the ones we've mentioned, obviously the Giants and the Jets. But another one that is surprising just seeing this on paper, the Minnesota Vikings at 5-1. Number 3 in the league. Kind of crazy to me.
There's a lot of these teams I just don't trust.
Yeah.
Like I just don't trust that they will stay there. And I will have more trust with a Tom Brady led team that they'll be there in the end.
Essentially what could be the preview of the AFC Championship, the Bills and the Chiefs, a great game this past weekend. Not as high scoring as some people thought, about 10 points under the projected spread, which again, Ramostradamus, or however you say that, Tony Romo predicted in the first quarter it was going to be 24-20 at the end, which is, I don't know how he manages to do that.
He's weird.
Yeah, but I mean, so looking at that game, did this tell you anything? Was it indicative of saying like, oh, this is the Bills to beat? I mean, they picked off Mahomes right there at the end. What do you guys think there?
I think the most impressive thing I'm seeing from this Bills team, and it shows in these stats too, because when you're looking down this list of standings throughout the NFL, there's only one team, because they give you points for and points against. There's only one team in the points against column that's under 100 points, and that's the Bills.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's a huge feat to go through 6 weeks of football in the NFL and only allow 81 points and to score 176 while you're doing it. I mean, the Bills are still the top team in my mind. I think the Chiefs obviously are going to be there, but I don't know. I kind of want more fireworks in this game, but I think they're going to come when the postseason comes around.
Right. I mean, they can't all be like 28 points scored in 2 minutes, like in the playoffs. But
I think the defense has definitely stepped up more. That's why it's a little bit. I mean, it's crazy to think that we're thinking 24-20 is very low, but for those two teams, yes. I expected that game to go exactly the way that game went exactly the way I was expecting it to go. I didn't think that after the last matchup that Josh Allen's going to lose to them. I think he was going to do everything to win. And I think the Bills and the Eagles are the teams to beat right now, but there's been a team and a couple teams that have shown the blueprint on how to beat Buffalo. And I'm curious if once we get later into the season, how they're going to adjust, if they're able to adjust to Allen getting rushed, Allen getting startled back there. And remember what the Patriots did to them? Took away all of his receivers and made them run. So I'm curious to see if some teams are going to catch on to that. And, when you're in the wild card and playing them, to see if that strategy works, if you can stop them, or if they're too hot and they go all the way.
Do you think that game, like they play the Chiefs and the Bills play that game, that's essentially a coin flip every time? Or do you think that the Bills are winning that 70-30 at this point?
No, I think that has a lot to do with home field. I think the Bills win that every time if they're in Buffalo. It's tough to play in Buffalo.
Sure. And interesting, you talked about the Bills defense. A player that was on the field who should not have been on the field is former Oregon State corner Jordan Poyer. Jordan Poyer has a rib injury. He was not cleared to fly to Kansas City to play in that game. So he hired a car service to drive him 1,000 miles overnight so that he could be there for that game and play and make an impact and then drive back after the fact. That's some dedication right there.
Are people calling that dedication? That seems unsafe.
It might be also unsafe.
Yeah. What about our guy who took the Uber? Remember that season 1? He was
the
like
guy who got drunk
practice.
and then ended up in Atlanta from Louisiana. Is that what you're talking about?
No, that was great as well. But no, wasn't there a player who was like a practice squad guy and he was going to get some playing time? I think this was a COVID year and he like couldn't get a flight. So he like paid a whole shit ton of money to get to a game via Uber. It was a running back, I'm pretty sure.
Are you sure his car just didn't break down?
I'm not seeing that off of this. I can't.
Yeah. What other podcast are you doing where you have?
It must be my other sport podcast.
It was the Foreplay Pod.
Oh, yeah.
So let's see. I know that we have kind of talked about this past week, upcoming this next week, the New Orleans Saints will have their third game. Huh?
NFL player Sharice Wright spends $1,000 on Uber ride to reach a voluntary practice.
Oh, a voluntary
just
practice.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about practice.
Wow.
We're talking about practice.
We're talking about practice.
Good for him. Good for him.
What a pussy.
The New Orleans Saints will play the Arizona Cardinals this weekend. It will be their third game of the Bird Gauntlet. They are 2 for 2 so far.
2-0.
So
what do you mean they lost to the Bengals?
Those are not birds.
Oh, that's true.
Those are not.
You forgot about the Bengals.
Those are not birds. Do we think that they get it done against the Cardinals, a team that has been struggling?
Yeah.
A little bit?
If you're starting a team right now, you get to choose between 2 quarterbacks. Do you take Russ or do you take Kyler?
I would beg for neither at this point.
Yeah. Taking.
Do I get DeAndre Hopkins with him?
No.
Mm.
Both of them, it's painful to watch them play.
Yeah, it really is. And the thing is that now this whole Call of Duty thing is going to follow Kyler forever. This whole him and whatever Modern Warfare 2 XP, whatever that means. I'm not a gamer. It's going to follow him. That will be a mark on his entire career.
Kyler Murray needs to snap out of it and realize that he is playing professional football and not playing around in the yard with his friends.
He runs a lot. He gets a little feisty out there.
He is surrounded by bees.
His legs must be so tired all the time.
Nonstop.
What do you guys think? Is there anything else? If we're looking at the NFL games in week 6, we've talked about the Bird game. Actually, so week 7, my bad. We have Saints Cardinals. Let's see. Oh, Carson Wentz is hurt. Who cares?
Thank God.
Yeah. So it's back to the Taylor Heineke show, which will be quite exciting.
Did you say
there.
thank God? That's rude.
I know.
Sorry.
That is quite rude. Chiefs 49ers has the potential to be an okay game, but again, that game's in San Francisco. Then you have Chargers Seahawks. Who knows how that one?
I think the Falcons Bengals game is going to be interesting.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think the Giants Jags might be kind of a fun one for whatever reason.
We're also gonna sit here getting on the wagon of the Zappy hour and think the Bears are going to New England.
Gosh.
The Patriots are gonna smash them, and then watch the Bears win.
Right.
Dude, the Bears are abysmal.
They're no good. I'm not excited to see that game on a Monday night, though.
No one is.
Colts Titans is a divisional game, and that might be kind of fun. But I'm just this week of games. On paper, you go, oh, look at it, like, oh, Ravens Browns, but like if that was at full strength, that
NFL on paper, week 7, not the most exciting,
right? Which will be an incredible week.
Yeah,
it'll turn out to be an incredible week.
Saturday, 12:30, UCLA, Oregon. That's
college game
jam.
day.
You might want to put up that projector from Prime Day and let's get that going.
Yeah,
are we not?
Let's get it smoking.
Let's get together.
So
we got to watch that.
That will be a big game.
Well, hey,
college football ranks.
Pete, to circle back to your initial reason of bringing all this up, now that it's week 6, do we want to quickly go through the divisions and see who we think is going to win?
Sure. Do we want to make? So AFC East, we have the Bills at 5-1. They're going to win that division. The Jets at 4-2. I think they probably level off. We'll see how Tua comes back, if he is back to his old self or not. The Dolphins at 3-3. And then I feel like the Patriots will be just average for the rest of the year.
Yeah. So does anybody not think it's going to be the Bills?
I don't want to, but there's no way it's going to be them.
It'll be the Bills. For the AFC North, I see the Ravens pulling away with the Bengals potentially being a playoff wild card team. And then once Watson gets back in week 11 or 12, whatever that might be, it's going to be too late for them. So Ravens will win that, but Bengals will be a playoff team.
I agree. I'm on the Ravens as well. I have that future for them to win the Super Bowl, so I'm going to ride them.
I'll take the Bengals there.
Okay. When it comes to AFC South, this one is just kind of like, I feel like there's going to be the Titans, Colts, and Jags are all going to stay around the same record, maybe within 9-8 or 10-7, that type of a team. But I don't necessarily see a clear favorite here. I guess from precedent, we'll say the Titans, but I don't have any faith right now in Matt Ryan. Who knows if Jonathan Taylor's going to come back and be your guy. He's going to be the guy, but he's been out for a long time at this point. So I'm curious to see what the Jags can do.
The other 3 are too unpredictable. And if I had to choose now, I'd choose Tennessee. You just don't know what to expect from the other 3 teams. I'm
going to take the Colts. I think that tie is going to be the difference.
Sure, I can get that. The Chiefs at 4-2. I think they'll win the division, but I think the Chargers are a playoff team, and then you're going to see the Broncos and Raiders be bottom dwellers for the rest of the season.
Yeah, Chiefs in that one.
I think that the most intriguing division is probably the NFC East, because not only are they going to be facing head to head, but will the Giants just kind of find themselves in a bit of a losing streak here? Will the Eagles kind of drop an easy one when maybe they shouldn't, just because they've developed such not a good lead, because they have the Giants and Cowboys there at 5-1 and 4-2. Commanders are just gonna fall off into an oblivion. They're such a messed up franchise right now, with the potential of Daniel Snyder might get kicked out as an owner, is what they're talking about. So
Well, the good thing is that 2 of those 6 wins have already come against division teams.
Opponents,
So opponents. So that's a good thing for the Eagles. I think that the Eagles take that division. I do think that they maybe lose to either the Giants or the Cowboys, or maybe both of them. But I think their record's going to hold out to stay the top there.
As far as the NFC North goes, the Vikings will be the type of team who will probably level off a little bit. They're 5-1 now. The Packers, right now there seems to be a little bit of disjointedness between Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur. Aaron Rodgers saying we need to simplify things. Every time that we get into this situation, we're not simplifying things. And then Matt LaFleur is like, what are you talking about? Everything's simple already. It's early in the season.
And then Aaron Rodgers like, I just smoked a lot,
I
bro.
know. And then he goes on and says, well, the Jets are so good. It's like, come on, man. You should have won that game. So I think that the Packers eventually win that division. And I would actually say that the Vikings miss the playoffs because of what is happening in the NFC East.
Oh,
bold.
Yeah.
That is bold. I think the Vikings win that division.
You do.
I think that Green Bay is slowly, it's like they're an old rope that's slowly fraying piece by piece.
I know you're gonna go
I understand that.
I know you're gonna go through all these divisions, but to me, NFC's decided. I think Philly wins theirs. I think Minnesota wins theirs. I think Tampa Bay wins the South. The only one is the West. Whether the Rams figure it out and battle against the Niners, or the Niners take it all the way.
The Rams right now, in their inability to keep Matthew Stafford upright, who just this past weekend tied Dan Marino for the most pick sixes ever. Tied for second, by the way. And
you invest that much money into a QB just for them to fucking
I mean, again, it's like
every week.
If you can't keep your guy upright, you're having trouble there. I think that the 49ers, if they can get right now, George Kittle is not part of that offense at all. They're hurt at running back a little bit. And, I feel like they're just trying to adjust on the fly in a way with Jimmy G, but who knows?
I'm going to go ahead and make a bold prediction here.
Sure.
I think that the Falcons go on a little bit of a run here. The Buccaneers have some trouble and lose to the wrong people in their division. They're playing Carolina this week. And after that outing to the Steelers, first time Tom Brady's gone 0-3 in a long time, possibly ever. I think the Falcons go on a little bit of a run is my point. And the Buccaneers get into the playoffs in a wild card spot. Right. And the Falcons take the South.
You would like that for the bet that we have got going.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We're already halfway there.
A little less than half, but that's fine.
Yeah, well, it depends. I'm a glass half full kind of guy, Pete.
All right.
What's the glass filled with?
Yeah, is the glass filled with urine?
You teed yourself up on that one.
But I have the Niners. I don't like the Niners, but for some reason with Jimmy G back there, it seems all right.
For sure. All right, that's all I've got. Now, Braxton, something that you didn't know is that Chase and Jara were helping us on your punishment for this week.
Perfect.
Yeah. Take off your hat, please.
Yeah.
It's the first step. We're waiting. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, now the rest of your clothes.
He's joking. Close your left eye.
Now stick your tongue out. Go at. There you go. Like a little emoji.
Now pee in your beer can.
We do not have a punishment
for
you right now.
We're not punishing you on vacation. So
not on vacation.
This is going to linger, which is probably worse for you. You will be punished next week.
You will.
I assumed. And
punishment next week.
Yeah, I was talking to Chase about it. I showed him the spreadsheet and stuff because he was curious about how we prepare. I think he was surprised we prepare it all. But anyways, and he was like, "Oh, do we need to prepare something for you to be punished?" And I was like, "No, unfortunately, I have to just think about it for another week." That's the worst part.
That is, yes.
That's not the worst part. The worst part is if you lose next week.
Yeah.
That's 2 punishments.
Yeah.
Or one of us will join you. So
exactly.
This might be a look, though. I might keep this.
It's not. When
All
do
right.
you
Well,
get back, anyways? When are you coming home? Or are you just going to be a telemarketer the whole time in Philly now?
no, we'll be back Thursday.
All right.
So are we getting together to watch the Oregon UCLA game?
Hell yeah.
Cool.
Let's do it.
Oh yeah. But before we leave, this reminded me. I'm not gonna do a little gym flex on you guys, but I was at the gym today, and this has to do with the ending of our show, which is
okay. Zach, go ahead.
Right, which is the fact that we are all Friday Night Lights fans, and when I tell you, I had to go around the gym and do a triple take on this guy who I legitimately thought was Matt Saracen today at the free weights.
Getting back in the game.
And like, I mean, I honestly, I started doing like research about like, is he doing any projects around here? Was he from here? No, he's from the Midwest. But I like legitimately like went and picked up these like 5 or 10 pound weights and was pretending to do like wrist exercises because they were like the closest to him.
So you wanted to smell him?
Exactly. I would have known what he's mad. I wanted to be like clear eyes, but I did not. I'm pretty sure it wasn't him.
Was
but
he like, I just need a spotter, Peter. I just need a spotter.
Yeah, spotter. I legitimately thought it was him for like a good 5 to 10 minutes, and I was like, I'm gonna get this guy on the podcast. But
I just don't have time, Peter. I'm here to fuck your daughter.
I don't even have one. So, no Matt Saracen that I believe. I don't think it was him. But boy, it was a legitimate thing for there for a minute.
Well, we're the next best thing.
Yeah, exactly. So
where's the siren coming from?
He's in.
We're in Philly, baby. Allentown.
Part of
the
streets.
Like, what's happening in Happy Valley? That's never happened.
No, it's hot in the streets out here.
We'll rip some cigs outside. Enjoy the show.
All right, we'll do. All right, thanks for zooming with us, guys. Clear eyes.
Full heart.
Get loose.